how in the last Crappy Cartoons I had said I thought Total Drama was the first reality show that doesn't take place in reality? Well, I had learned when starting the series that I was horribly wrong. There is a show called Drawn Together about a bunch of parodies living under one roof. I would go over all 8 of them, but honestly, I'll do that while reviewing the episode, as they all appear in every episode no matter how small their roles are. Now, this show aired on Comedy Central, so I expected it to be another rude and offensive show, kind of like South Park, which is a show I detest because of how unfunny and up-in-your-face it is. Now that being said, the only show I've ever seen on Comedy Central has been South Park, and I know they like to touch on things that should never be touched on by the likes of their creators. So yeah, I can seem like an angry bigot who can't take a joke, right? Well, I can tell you that if you do think that of me, don't, as Family Guy and The Simpsons can touch on touchy subjects and still not be offensive and awkward about it. Simpsons more so than Family Guy. So yeah, I can take a joke on a touchy subject. Comedy Central usually chooses to make it awkward and uncomfortable to watch, though, and this brings me to my next point. Drawn Together is like a redneck Republican. He'll support lesbians, but shun gays. He'll love you if you're American, but enslave you if you're black, Mexican, or Asian. It just makes some moments incredibly wrong-sounding, and this is why I chose Gay Bash over all the other episodes I've seen. Because when it comes to uncomfortable humor, there's not another episode to beat it. However, there are some that get close, and I may talk about those in the future, but for now, let's talk about Gay Bash. The episode starts with Xanadier, our gay hero parodying video games, and Ling Ling, the homicidal Pikachu spoof, having coffee while Captain Hero, a spoof of Superman, is cutting his toenails in a scene that's completely pointless. Toot, being the Betty Boop parody, barges in with a ring. We learn that she is voiced by your childhood incarnate, Tara Strong. Toot asks who left the ring on the toilet, and Xanadier says it was his. Toot makes him get it by stuffing it between her cleavage, and this gives Xanadier 100 rings, which gives him the ability to jump with a twirl. Everyone laughs at him, as you do in a Comedy Central show, with a gay character. We then cut to Wooldor, a SpongeBob Stimpy love child gone wrong, explaining that they haven't committed a hate crime in a while, so they get a reward, a sewing machine, which sets up plot point B. I label this as plot point B instead of A because this is called Gay Bash. Not, well, you'll understand. The superhero complains that they don't have a TV, and Wooldor says they can knit a television, and Spanky, an internet cartoon parody, says it's a stupid idea. Ling Ling then starts knitting. As he knits a television, and Spanky gets an idea that'll make millions. Xanadier says he's happy about getting the sewing machine, and Captain Hero points out that he's gay, because, you know, Comedy Central and stuff like that. You know. And Xanadier tries to stick up for himself, but Foxy, a parody of Valerie Brown and Josie and the Pussycats, says it's okay to be gay because Comedy Central has to have that message somewhere. Xanadier continues to say he isn't gay, and Wooldor pulls out a gay test from his stomach, and Xanadier takes it. We then cut to plot point B as Spanky is telling Ling Ling that they'll make bootleg sneakers, showing that this is going to be a child labor story. Whoopee. However, as plot point B starts, Ling Ling seems to be okay with doing some sewing because I guess he enjoys it? I don't know. After a person sews a working television set, it's hard to question their motive. But Spanky shows his American side, and Ling Ling starts working. We then cut back to plot point A as they conclude Xanadier is gay. Toot asks how else could Xanadier resist her, and Wooldor points out that she's fat. As we get the worst joke I've seen in a Comedy Central show, and I've seen South Park. We then cut to Princess Clara, a Disney princess spoof also voiced by Tara Strong, explaining how Xanadier kept denying he's gay, and how she turned to the Bible to test his sexuality. Because that's going to totally end well, right? Well, Xanadier has to give his hand to a wood beast to see if he is truly gay, and it turns out he is for the 3rd time. We continue plot point A as Foxy, Spanky, and Clara are trying to cheer up Xanadier as they throw him a gay bash, as we meet up with Snagglepuss and Elmer Fudd? Yeah, not sure why they thought Elmer Fudd was a good choice either. But whatever. Anyway, they tell Xanadier to dance as he does his jump spin, creating a new fad, I guess? Afterwards, Elmer Fudd gives Xanadier a blowjob, and then we cut to the next scene. Back at plot B, Spanky gets a call from the NBA wanting 10,000 sneakers in 24 hours, and Ling Ling shows he's exhausted. But Spanky starts whipping him and making him work harder, and so Ling Ling starts singing. Granted, they forgot subtitles as Ling Ling doesn't actually speak Japanese. We then cut back to plot A as Xanadu meets up with Pac-Man. They make a Mrs. Pac-Man cross-dresser joke and the glory hole joke for Waldor to spot. Cut to Clara, who compliments how clean the house is after the gays left. Foxy and Zandy talking about mangina, which is a term I never thought was appropriate or smart, even for this kind of show, as Xandir calls Princess Zelda, voiced by Cree Summers. It seems voice roles were very small in the land of Drawn Together. Anyway, Zelda breaks Xandir's heart, and end scene. Back at plot B, Spanky answers the door to a small Vietnamese boy saying his family will go out of business because Spanky and Ling Ling's small two-person business. Spanky tells the kid to fuck off, and we go back to Xandir. Now, remember how I said Comedy Central was never funny to me? The biggest reason behind this is because they go out of their way to be rude and offensive. And this is a bit of what I mean. Xanadu explains to the audience that he has no purpose and that he wishes he was dead. And then he commits suicide 49 times. And we're supposed to laugh at this. You're supposed to laugh as a gay person who just wants to die because he feels he has no purpose. Yeah, this right here, this is a bad episode of Family Guy. Like, Seahorse Seashell Party bad. You can even see Xanadir's depression inflicting his voice too as he's just going crazy killing himself this many times.
Goodbye, cruel world. Ow.
During the night, the group checks up on Xanadir as Toot yells at him to kill himself more quietly, and Xanadir says he only has one more life left. When Clara steps in, says something offensive, and then Foxy comes in and tries to explain to her that being gay isn't a choice. But Clara doesn't listen as they go looking for a genie, or rather shake Waldorf down for one. Meanwhile, in plot B, Spanky and Ling Ling got that order of 10,000 shoes done as the Vietnamese kid is back, with his family of 147 brothers and one sister, I think. Spanky challenges them as they combine into a mecha robot because Asians. Spanky goes to get what he deserves, which is to be skewered. This could have really helped this episode if he were actually cooked. But sadly, he wasn't, and I'll get to that in a bit. But for now, let's get back to plot A for a really uncomfortable scene.
Hey, hey, I'm Groucho Marx. What's the secret word?
Now I'm a wacky sailor. Now I'm a cross-dressing nanny.
And now I'm a wacky doctor who cures cancer with laughter and a big red nose. Oh, Jumanji! Nanu, nanu.
Wow, you're a comic genius.
Xanadir rubs the genie lamp for the biggest Robin Williams parody ever. Now, I must say that this show was made between 2004 and 2007, so Robin's death wasn't a thing. However, watching it now, it just gets weird. Anyway, Genie asks what they want, and Xanadir wishes the gay away. Genie tells him off at how that's offensive and goes back to the lamp. You know, pointing out your problems does not make them go away. Just throwing that out there. Back to plot B, and Spanky gets out of his predicament by using Ling Ling's love of honor to get his ass out of being eaten. Ling Ling fixes the problem, and Spanky gives him a hat with honor written on it. In a admittedly cute scene. However, the mood is ruined by plot A, as Xanadir wishes that he could just end it, and Clara helps him out. He goes to kill himself for the 50th time, but Genie talks him out of it by saying he's gay. They hook up, and then Xanadir's rival steals the lamp. Then he decides there's a purpose and lives another day. It's shows like this I really hate. The ones who go out of their way for shock humor are not funny. They never have been, never will be, no matter how much they try to bring it back into the good light. What they do is bad, and they should feel bad, but they don't, and they won't.